They lied to you. They told you that if you worked hard, stayed patient, and followed the rules, life would eventually reward you. But look around. The hardest workers are broke. The smartest minds are ignored. The loyal and obedient, they spend their lives building empires for people who play by different rules. The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards control. You can spend decades grinding and still end up trapped under someone who understood one thing you didn't. The real game isn't about how much you work, it's about how much you control. The rich figured that out long ago. While you're saving for retirement, they're buying the system that defines retirement. While you chase stability, they manipulate the markets that decide who gets to feel stable. Effort keeps the machine running. Control owns the machine. That's the truth schools never teach you. They don't want you to think about power. They want you to obey it. From the first day you sat in a classroom, the game was already set. Sit still, follow instructions, don't question authority, pass the test, get the job. And when you do all that, what happens? You find yourself trapped in a cycle that looks safe, but bleeds your time dry. The modern world doesn't enslave you with chains. It enslaves you with comfort. You're not forced to obey. You're taught to prefer obedience. You think you're free because you can choose your boss, your phone, or your brand of coffee. But the system doesn't care who you work for. It only cares that you keep working. They told you work was noble, that patience was a virtue, that playing fair would get you ahead. But that advice was never meant to make you powerful. It was meant to make you predictable. Because predictable people are easy to control, and control is the only real currency left. You were never meant to win their game. You were trained to sustain it. The system runs on the energy of people who confuse loyalty with security. They say, find a stable job, but a job is only stable for the person who created it. They say, save your money. But money loses value while the ones who print it multiply theirs. They say, don't take risks. But every empire, from ancient Rome to modern Silicon Valley, was built by someone who did. Here's the truth. The rich aren't braver than you. They're just better at using leverage. They know how to make small moves that produce massive results. They've replaced labor with systems, time with influence, and risk with calculation. Look at Bezos. He doesn't pack boxes. Look at Musk. He doesn't weld steel. Look at Buffett. He doesn't grind for hours. They've built networks of people, capital, and ideas that move for them. They don't chase opportunities. They build machines that attract them. Two people can work the same hours, but one stays tired while the other stays in control. Effort without leverage is slavery with extra steps. Control turns time into multiplication. When you command the movement of others through systems, influence, or capital, you multiply faster than effort ever could. Here's the cruel symmetry of it all. The system praises hard work because it needs you to keep believing in it. It rewards obedience with small comforts to keep you docile. Vacations, promotions, titles. You get just enough to stop questioning, but never enough to escape. And when you finally start to wonder why your good behavior hasn't paid off, they give you motivational slogans to reset your mind. Work harder. Grind longer. Stay humble. It's a psychological loop, and it's brilliant. Machiavelli saw through this centuries ago. He said power is never given, it's taken. The servant waits to be recognized. The prince creates the recognition. So if you want to rise, stop asking for permission. Stop trying to prove your worth to a system designed to use it against you. Safe. That's the word they use to keep you slow. They call it security, prudence, responsibility. But safe is just another word for controlled. Every system preaches caution because risk threatens its power. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in history came from someone the world called reckless. Columbus sailed into what everyone believed was the edge of the earth. The Wright brothers flew when scientists laughed at the idea of flight. Netflix bet everything on streaming when the world was still renting DVDs. Apple killed the keyboard when everyone thought touchscreens were a gimmick. The world calls it madness until it works, and then they call it genius. The line between reckless and revolutionary isn't bravery, it's timing. The rich don't wait for certainty. They act while everyone else is still thinking. They understand that perfection is the slowest form of procrastination. You tell yourself you'll start when the timing's right. But readiness is an illusion. There's no perfect moment. The right time doesn't appear. It's created by those who move. That's why fortune always seems to smile on the bold. The faster you act, the more luck you appear to have. Fortune doesn't reward caution, it rewards momentum. Machiavelli said fortune is like a woman. It favors the bold, the aggressive, the one who dares to act. So if you're still hesitating, understand this. Your hesitation is someone else's opportunity. Here's where you pause and realize something uncomfortable. The longer you stay safe, the more dangerous your life becomes. Comfort kills progress quietly. You don't notice the decay until you've spent 20 years building a resume instead of a legacy. The system calls it stability, but it's really sedation. While you wait for certainty, the bold are building leverage, stacking power, and rewriting the rules. Safe feels warm until you realize it's a cage lined with velvet. Every comfort you cling to is another lock on your potential. Safety doesn't protect you, it slowly erases you. But here's the beautiful contradiction. The moment you stop worshiping safety, your power returns. Because control doesn't start with money, it starts with courage. You don't become powerful by working harder. You become powerful the moment you stop waiting for permission to act. Leverage is the invisible weapon of the powerful. It's how one decision can move $1 million, while another person can't even move their schedule. The poor use effort. The rich use levers: money, people, knowledge, attention. These are the four currencies of control. Money leverage turns debt into a tool. The poor fear loans. The rich use them to buy assets that work for them. That's why billionaires owe billions. It's not a weakness, it's armor. People leverage multiplies impact. A leader's words make thousands move, while a worker's effort dies when he sleeps. Knowledge leverage makes time irrelevant. Knowing what others don't and acting before they do turns foresight into fortune. And attention leverage, today's most powerful of all, converts visibility into influence. In this age, attention is the new oil. Capture it, refine it, and it fuels everything you do. Every empire in history was built on leverage. Kings didn't fight battles, they commanded armies. Industrialists didn't hammer steel, they organized factories. Influencers don't sell products, they sell perception. When you understand leverage, you stop trading your time for money and start trading ideas for power. That's why the rich always look calm. They're not working harder, their systems are. But leverage alone isn't enough. You can build the machine, but without speed, someone else will use it before you do. Speed is the most underestimated form of power. People think success takes decades, but in truth, most fortunes are made in moments, by people who were fast enough to act while others hesitated. The rich don't wait for perfect timing. They make it. They move when everyone else is still asking for permission. When the world hesitates, they strike. When the market crashes, they buy. When everyone's scared, they move. Because in a world of hesitation, speed itself becomes a weapon. The first to act shapes the outcome. The rest just react. That's why success looks like luck to the slow. It's simply timing, mastered. Netflix didn't get lucky. It moved online before anyone believed in streaming. Apple didn't wait for permission to redefine how humans touch technology. The world mocked them, then copied them. That's what fortune favors, the ones who move first. But speed doesn't mean chaos. The ones who rise fast don't rush. They anticipate. They read patterns, sense momentum, and strike at the moment of highest tension. They make moves that look reckless, but are calculated to precision. Machiavelli meant exactly this when he wrote, "Fortune favors the bold." He didn't mean foolishness. He meant decisive courage under uncertainty. You've been told patience is a virtue. It's not, at least not the kind that keeps you waiting. Patience is only useful when it's strategic. Waiting without power is surrender. The world moves at the speed of decisions, not dreams. The faster you decide, the faster your world expands. But here's the twist. Moving fast makes you visible, and visibility brings enemies. The higher you climb, the more resistance you attract. It's not personal, it's structural. Power creates friction. The world doesn't attack the invisible, it attacks the rising. That's why people will doubt you, mock you, and question your motives. They'll say you've changed, that you've become arrogant, cold, or selfish. But what they're really saying is this: you've stepped outside the limits they chose for themselves. Jealousy is the tax of progress. Every whisper, every insult, every cynical laugh, it's proof you're ascending. The world resents motion because it reminds the stagnant of their stillness. Every person who's ever built something worth remembering faced the same storm. When Kanye called himself a genius, they laughed. When Steve Jobs came back to Apple, they called him delusional. When Bezos left Wall Street to sell books online, they called him insane. But history doesn't remember the mockers. It remembers the ones who moved anyway. The system fights hardest when it feels your independence growing. That's the moment most people break. They start apologizing for their ambition, downplaying their success, dimming their fire to make others comfortable. But Machiavelli would warn, humility in the wrong room is suicide. If your strength threatens them, you're doing something right. The strong don't run from resistance, they use it. Pressure creates focus. Opposition refines clarity. The moment people start talking about you, trying to pull you down, understand, it's not rejection, it's recognition. The invisible are never attacked. If no one envies you, you're irrelevant. In this game, invisibility is death. You must become undeniable. You must move so decisively, so visibly, that the world has no choice but to respond to you. Every great leader, from Alexander to Churchill, understood this. They knew that dominance isn't just about force, but about perception. When the crowd doubts you, double down. When they call you reckless, move faster. Their noise is proof you're making waves. Silence means you've stopped mattering. But speed and leverage mean nothing if they burn out in chaos. Power gained too fast without foundation collapses like a house of smoke. The ones who rise and stay there understand this. Stability isn't safety, it's structure. The difference is crucial. Stability protects your growth. Safety prevents it. Power without structure is noise. That's why the true elite don't just move fast. They build slow foundations that keep moving without them. Anyone can win once, but staying powerful requires leverage that doesn't sleep. Machiavelli taught that rulers who depend on loyalty collapse the moment loyalty shifts. But those who build systems, alliances, institutions, machines of influence, rule long after they leave the room. People betray. Systems don't. Jay-Z stopped trading hours for applause. He built Rock Nation, a system that multiplies money and influence even when he's silent. Bezos doesn't pack boxes, Amazon does. Musk doesn't weld steel, Tesla's ecosystem does. They don't chase wealth. They design pipelines where wealth flows automatically. The poor think in hours, The middle class think in income. The rich think in systems, because systems are self-replicating power. They outlive effort, outscale talent, and outlast even the person who built them. This is the difference between playing the game and owning it. Workers trade time for pay. Leaders trade ideas for momentum. Commanders trade systems for control. When you build a system, you stop surviving and start directing. The world bends to those who can move pieces from above. You're no longer reacting to opportunities. You're creating them. Machiavelli said that a wise ruler rules through design, not luck. Power that depends on luck dies with the storm. Power that depends on design survives every season. That's why the elite spend years building invisible structures before they strike. By the time the world notices their rise, the roots are already too deep to cut. But structure isn't only mechanical, it's psychological. Control doesn't end at systems. It extends into stories. The most powerful people on Earth don't just own assets, they own narratives. The modern battlefield isn't physical, it's perceptual. It's not about what's true, but about what people believe. Machiavelli understood this long before social media. He said it's better to appear virtuous than to be virtuous, because the crowd doesn't see the truth, they see the story. Whoever controls the story controls the crowd. That's why the rich buy not just companies, but narratives. They fund the stories that define what's normal, what's possible, what's moral. They create the cultural scripts that shape how you think. You chase stability, success, a good job, because someone somewhere designed that dream and sold it to you as virtue. Every ad you see, every slogan you repeat, is part of a playbook written to guide your energy back into their systems. They don't just sell products, they sell permission to dream in their image. Think about Apple. People don't just buy iPhones, they buy identity. Apple doesn't sell hardware, it sells belonging. That's perception leverage, the illusion of meaning wrapped around machinery. Julius Caesar did the same thing when he returned to Rome, not just with victories, but with a story written by his scribes. His legend became stronger than his army. Perception creates power, because people will fight for a story long after they've stopped believing in a person. So if you want to escape their control, you must learn to write your own story. Control begins in language. The words you use shape the world you see. If you speak like a servant, you'll think like one. Change your vocabulary, and you change your limits. Stop saying, "I can't." Start asking, "How can I?" Stop saying, "I'll try." Start declaring, "I will." Words are the building blocks of identity, and identity is the engine of destiny. Every empire began as a story someone dared to tell. Every revolution started with a voice that refused to stay quiet. Speak as if you already have power, because confidence doesn't follow control. Control follows confidence. The world gives to those who act like they already own it. It's not arrogance, it's energy. People follow certainty, not humility. They invest in those who look like they don't need investment. Perception shapes belief, and belief moves money. That's the formula. But here's where the climb gets brutal. The path from dependence to sovereignty demands sacrifice. You'll lose people who once felt like home. You'll endure seasons of silence where no one believes in your vision but you. That's the cost of evolution. The old world will call you arrogant, but the new one will call you inevitable. You cannot lead if you still need validation. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must learn to act against pity, against faith, against humanity if necessary, to preserve the state. In modern terms, it means this: you must sometimes let go of comfort, reputation, and approval to protect your destiny. True strength isn't in how much you can lift, it's in how much truth you can carry without breaking. Power tests your capacity to stay steady when the noise grows loud. The weak crumble under doubt. The strong use doubt as evidence that they're close to something real. Remember, when people start trying to stop you, it means your moves are finally visible, and visibility is both a blessing and a blade. The same light that reveals you can burn you if you stand still too long. That's why real power requires motion. Never stop moving. Never stop building. When you rest, the world reclaims the ground you've gained. Power is not a trophy. It's a current. You don't possess it. You maintain it by flowing forward. That's what separates rulers from dreamers. Dreamers want comfort after victory. Rulers know victory is just a checkpoint. The moment you stop expanding, you start shrinking. The moment you stop leading, someone else begins. The moment you stop writing the story, someone else picks up the pen. So build systems that move with or without you. Build narratives that live after you. That's how kings become myths, and entrepreneurs become legends. Wealth fades, fame fades, but design endures. That's the hidden secret of permanence. Legacy isn't built by chance. It's engineered. Power without direction burns out fast. That's why true rulers don't chase chaos. They design permanence. They understand that control must evolve into structure, and structure must evolve into legacy. The purpose of power isn't to dominate others. It's to free yourself from dependence. The rich don't just seek money. They seek immunity. They build systems so complete that the world must revolve around them. Think of Rockefeller. He didn't just sell oil. He built pipelines that every competitor had to pay to use. Think of Zuckerberg. He didn't just build a platform. He created the network that defines how billions communicate. These men didn't chase opportunity. They built the infrastructure where opportunity lives. They didn't play the game. They became the board. That's what Machiavelli meant when he said, "The wise ruler rules through institutions." Systems are the modern castles. They defend you even when you sleep. But once you've built control, the game changes again. You must master perception. The most powerful rulers in history understood that image is stronger than fact. Caesar returned to Rome not only with victories, but with stories of triumph sculpted by his scribes. His legend made his rule unshakable. The perception of power creates more power. In the modern world, image spreads faster than truth. That's why brands, leaders, and influencers fight not for facts, but for attention. Attention is the new crown. If you can hold it, you can steer belief. And belief shapes the world far more than money ever will. The rich understand this. They don't just own companies, they own stories. They fund the ideas that define what's normal, what's good, what's successful. Your dreams, your desires, even your sense of right and wrong, they've all been written into you by the architects of narrative. So the way out isn't rebellion, it's authorship. If you want freedom, write your own story. Control begins with language. The words you use are the framework of your reality. Stop saying I'm trying. Start saying I'm building. Stop saying I hope. Start saying I decide. Every empire began with a sentence. Every revolution began with a phrase someone refused to silence. Speak like you own the world, and the world will eventually listen. But make no mistake, the climb to sovereignty is brutal. You will outgrow people who still worship comfort. You will lose those who cannot see beyond safety. You will face envy, betrayal, and doubt. That's the tax of evolution. The weak want you humble because your ambition threatens their excuses. But Machiavelli warned long ago, the prince who needs to be loved will never rule. Power demands distance. You cannot lead if you still crave approval. True strength is the ability to carry truth alone. When no one believes yet, you keep moving. That's sovereignty in its rawest form. Because wealth is just a reflection of how much control you've earned over your time, your mind, and your world. Money flows to the ones who command movement, of people, of ideas, of meaning. When you reach that point, you realize the game isn't about getting rich. It's about building gravity. Power is gravity. It pulls everything around it into orbit. The stronger your vision, the more the world bends to it. Some people never chase money. Money chases them. Because the universe, like people, follows direction. The man who knows where he's going doesn't beg for permission. He commands momentum. So start by shifting from survival to strategy. Survival makes you reactive. Strategy makes you intentional. The poor play not to lose. The rich play to dominate. The poor think in weeks. The rich think in decades. The powerful think in generations. Every decision the strong make is designed to multiply. They don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "Will this increase my control?" Once you adopt that lens, the fog clears. You stop wasting energy on things that don't build leverage. You stop fighting battles you don't control. You stop measuring effort and start measuring influence. The only war worth fighting is the one you've already rigged to win. And here's the harshest truth. Time is not infinite. You are running out of it every second. If you don't use your time to build leverage, someone else will use your time to build theirs. That's why hard work without direction is slavery disguised as virtue. The man who builds systems, networks, and ideas multiplies himself infinitely. The one who doesn't dies working for someone who did. You have to choose. Are you the pawn that moves, or the player that commands? Control doesn't come from rebellion alone. It comes from structure. You can't just destroy rules. You must replace them with better ones. Power loves order. Chaos burns bright, but dies fast. Machiavelli wrote that revolutions only last when they replace old institutions with stronger ones. In today's world, that means building your own infrastructure. Businesses, media, audiences, influence. You must become the platform, not just the participant. The longer you play on someone else's stage, the more you build their empire. So build your own. Even if it starts small, own it completely. Ownership is modern royalty. The man who owns controls, even in silence. Because the game never ends. The moment you stop expanding, you start shrinking. The moment you stop leading, someone else begins. Power isn't a destination, it's a discipline. You maintain it by movement. The world belongs to those who stay bold enough to act while others hesitate. The poor wait for instruction. The rich give it. The world doesn't care who's right. It cares who decides. Every second you doubt, someone else designs your future. You either control the system or you are the system. So stop apologizing for your ambition. Stop hiding your fire behind politeness. You weren't born to fit into their plan. You were born to write your own. Build leverage. Master speed. Control perception. Design systems that outlast you. And when the world tells you to slow down, smile, because it means they've finally noticed how fast you're moving. In the end, wealth isn't the goal. Freedom is. Money is just proof that you've learned how to bend the world instead of being bent by it. Power isn't oppression, it's direction. It's waking up every morning knowing the world moves because you do. That's not arrogance. That's sovereignty. That's the highest form of wealth. So remember this. Safety keeps you small. Speed makes you visible. Power makes you free. And legacy, the final stage, makes you untouchable. The poor chase approval. The rich chase control. The wise chase permanence. You can spend your life asking for permission, or you can start building your own throne. The world belongs to those who dare to take it. And when you rise, rise quietly. Because real power doesn't announce itself, it's felt. This is Gaka mindset, where illusions end and empires begin. If this opened your eyes, don't let it fade. Subscribe, share, and stay sharp. Because fortune doesn't wait for the careful, it follows the bold. And the bold don't ask, they act.